I used to have quite an obsession with Pokemon when I was growing up. Even though I've grown out of it a bit now and may not watch the shows or play the games as much, I still think the fandom is pretty neat. So when I saw this Great Ball model on Thingiverse, I figured, why not? These are somewhat old news at this point, but Mr. Fozzie took the time to put together a bunch of different Pokeball models that are able to be printed out, and Barnacules covered this in one of his videos where he made a couple of them and showed you his process. I'm doing it a little bit differently than he did though. In all, the parts take about a day to print. I, of course, split it up across several days in different batches of prints. After some progressive sanding, the raw parts are looking very smooth. I didn't go too overboard on this. It was just an 80, 150, and 220 progressive grit. So obviously you could go into the thousands of grits and get something even smoother. But I don't know, I just felt like that was a little bit too much for this project. As you can see, the parts are not fixed yet and I have a little bit of trouble opening it, but you know, it's not really meant to be a real Pokeball, so that's okay. Here's a quick peek at the inside. I don't have an airbrush kit and I didn't feel like buying one, so I went ahead and went to my classics of hand-painted acrylics. These are just how I mix the colors together, and I think I got them pretty close. Now that all the parts are printed, we can just do a dry fit of everything and make sure everything still fits before we glue it together and seal it up. Just to note, if you plan on painting with acrylics like I do, you have to make sure that you water them down or they're just going to get very clumpy and you're not going to get a smooth finish on your parts. I watered them down and did 2 to 3 coats, so that's why my painting looks so smooth, at least before you look at it up close and in focus. And just to demonstrate, these black inner shells go inside the outer shells, which makes up the black trim on the ball itself. And there's the button. Okay, now for the nerve-wracking part. Everything is pretty much ready to go, so I'm just going to use some super glue gel to hopefully get it to stick together long enough to seal. I'm not going to glue it completely down because the sealant is going to create a shell that solidifies everything together. Once everything was painted and assembled, I applied some spray acrylic sealer just to keep it clean and to keep the paints from running while putting on the actual outer seal. But I have to say, it was looking pretty impressive even at this point. To seal everything up, I used Smooth-On's XTC 3D. It's about $30 for a kit, but it spreads very thin and it'll go a really long way. I'd be surprised if I ever needed to buy any more of it. This stuff is specifically designed for 3D prints, so it works very well. And here's the final product. It's not perfect. I got a few finger smudges in the sealant, and it could have gone on a little less tacky and smooth, but in all, I still think it looks really well. I don't know that you'd call it movie, prop quality, but I think it's definitely something nice to put just on your desk or in the background of your Zoom meeting. I didn't bother wasting material sealing the inside because it's really more of an outside display piece anyway. The hinge is also really easy. You just put a piece of regular filament in there and snap off the ends. My wife is already putting in orders for her coworkers' Christmas presents, so I guess I'm going to be busy over the next few weeks making a bunch of different ones. If you liked this video, please give it a like down below. I'd really appreciate it. And why don't you go ahead and leave a comment? Let me know what your favorite Pokeball is. If you want to be notified next time one of my videos come out, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you know right away. Until next time, thanks for watching.